Hello. Today's video comes to you from my kitchen. It is a lazy Saturday morning, and I've been alluding to this video coming for a while, ever since Halloween, actually, when I got the original idea. But we're going to be using bowls of Halloween candy as a metaphor for white privilege. So this could be very interesting. But like I said, been planning it since Halloween and been booking it to do it now because my husband and I have been eating all of the candy. So we're down to like the last bit of candy right now, and I thought I better make this video before all of this candy disappears and I have to go buy more. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to be looking at historical privileges that have been granted to white America and people of color over history. That's my cat. And we're going to be looking at ways in which America, the great bowl of privilege, has distributed those privileges over time. Because what I want for people to understand, and what I struggle the most with when I debate white privilege with people, is that this isn't about making anyone feel guilty. This isn't about accusing anyone of taking something from somebody else. Some privileges you do have to take. You have to reach your hand into the bowl and you have to grab them. But some privileges are given to you. And that's not anybody's fault. That's just what happens. So when we talk about white privilege, it's not about the specific privileges themselves. It's not about the people receiving those privileges. It's about the tally of privileges and how right now in our country the balance is off between what white America receives and what people of color receive. So that's what I'm hoping with this video, is that I can give a clear demonstration of the imbalances of the tally, and how we can fix it, essentially, by just being aware of the tally and calling out the imbalances as we see them. So let's get started. We're going to start with essentially the beginning of time, looking at the concept of the freedom of agency to exist, right? To not be owned by anyone else. So we're going back to like pre-1860s, and that privilege goes to white America. It was given to them. All right, they just went through history without the scourge of slavery to the extent that black America did. So black America currently, privilege tally of 0, white America gets 1. Moving on into the post-1860s, black America finally gets its freedom of agency to exist. That's given to them. Whoopee. Moving into the 1900s now, white America already has its voting rights. White America already has political representation. Early 1900s, black America finally gets voting rights. White America gets an additional privilege in the early 1900s, which is the New Deal from FDR. They all get land and things to sort of help break them out of the Depression. So that's an extra privilege for white America. I think black America already got its voting rights, so we're up to 2 now privileges for black America, and we are up to 4 in white America. So let's move on to political representation. Black America didn't get its first political representatives until 1968, but we got them, so there's a privilege for us. White America moves on from political representation as the emergence of pop culture and movies and television. Whoops, I just dropped a privilege. Which belonged to white America because they got representation in film that was by white people for white people. Black people were represented in film, but it was black people represented for white people, if that makes sense, because you have all the mammy stereotypes and all that sort of stuff. So we didn't quite get representation on television in the early 1900s just yet. Now we get to the mid-1900s, and I'm going to give a privilege to both black America and white America, which is interracial marriage became legal. That's cool. Everybody gets a Hershey bar. So now we've hit the mid-1900s. White America has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 privileges in their little tally over here. Black America's got 4. So let's talk about representation in pop culture. mid-1960s through the 80s, you had Cosby Show, The Jeffersons. You had all of those shows that were by black people for everyone, essentially. By black people, for America, for everybody. We finally got our representation in pop culture. Awesome. All right. I should also add that I included desegregation with the whole interracial marriage tie, so everybody got a privilege there. Let's talk about today now. Today, so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. What are we short? What is it that white America has that black America doesn't right now? White America has advantages in the criminal justice system. Even though white Americans are more likely to use drugs, black Americans are more likely to get arrested for drug use. A black man is 21 times more likely to get shot by police than a white suspect. Doesn't matter what they did. Black suspect is 21 more times more likely to get shot. So that privilege definitely goes to white America. There are still advantages for white America in employment. Now, I realize when I say that I'm talking about white men. White women still make less than white men do. Black men still make less than white men do. And black women, we're like bottom of the totem pole. So I recognize the privilege that I just stuck in white America's big bowl technically goes to white men. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is just me going through history and time and trying to figure out what are the literal, logistical, like tallyable things in American history that I can plop into a bowl and show people the imbalances of our world in a realistic way. Here's the black bowl. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of candy in here. Compare that to white bowl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I dropped one. 8. 8 pieces of candy in the white privilege bowl. So again, this is not about making anybody feel guilty. This is not about accusing anyone of taking something from somebody else. When black Americans are trying to stand up for their right to be represented equally in the criminal justice system, we're trying to take from the central pool of American privileges. We're not reaching over into your bowl and trying to take something away from you. We're just trying to level the tally. We're trying to balance the tally of the privileges that white America currently gets that come from this sort of central bowl of the system. So when we talk about white privilege, we're talking about the system. We're not talking about you as a person. We're not talking about the privilege that you were specifically granted. None of that's productive. We're talking about the system. So the next time that somebody wants to talk to you about privilege, the next time somebody tells you to check your privilege, as cliche a phrase as that is, recognize that it's not about you. No one's trying to take anything away from you. No one's trying to tell you that you are a bad person. We're just trying to tell you to look at the system, look at the imbalance, and be part of making a change for the future.